Can guys and girls be friends?
Guys and girls can't be friends because most likely what's happening is one of them is most likely just there waiting for an opportunity to enter, right? That's what happens. Whether like it or not, guys and girls think different. And because they think different, often see guys who don't know how to express themselves to the ladies often settle for friendship or quote unquote. There's always this underlying emotion that is there. So I think guys and girls can't be friends. I don't think they can be friends.
So you don't see male bestie, male best friend.
I don't believe in that.
You don't
Those
believe in
those ones are truly they are really really rare. But for most cases, no, boys and girls can't be friends because there's always an underlying emotion there.
So what are the importance of that in kids' life?
Let's talk about the importance of dads in the lives of kids. There's a saying that moms turn babies to boys, dads turn boys to men. So when a dad is present in the boy's life, he shows him what masculinity should feel like. It shows him things like confidence, courage. Then if when dads are present in the lives of daughters, it shows them what one, the kind of guys. The dad sets the standards for the kind of guys the girls should talk to. The guy shows how what healthy masculinity feels like. And dads are important because they basically help kids understand that the world is not an unconditional place. It's a place that if you misbehave, there are consequences. And it is dads that's supposed to show kids what those consequences are. By either before it was like disciplining kids. So dads are the ones who are there to discipline kids, not the moms. So yeah, those different reasons why dads are so important in the lives of kids. Whether it's the boy child or the female child.
So in some cases that we have absence of dads in kids' life, how should they adapt to?
It's going to be difficult because the mom either has to look for a masculine figure, right, to be there and give that masculine figure that authority. But in most cases, that won't happen. But if the mom wants what is best for the child, she will have to step into her masculinity and be the one to discipline the child. She has to be the one to push the child. She has to be the one to teach the child that, okay, fine, life has consequences. Yeah, I love you, but you can't go around thinking that you can do stupid things and the world will not hold you accountable. So she has to like bring out that masculine thing for the child, and in the process, risk the love of the child. It's a risk.
Risk.
Yeah.
How can a man become hard to manipulate?
So one way for guys to become hard to manipulate by women is, first of all, learning to discipline himself. Discipline what goes into his mouth, his food, and learn to discipline his sexual desires, because that is the road that's the way guys. Those are two ways that women try to manipulate guys by: one, making his stomach full and his balls empty. I'm sorry, but any guy who can control his desires by disciplining himself will be very difficult to manipulate. And you get to realize that if you can control that aspect of your life, it's only very few women that have anything real to offer, anything quality to offer. So yeah, it's about men disciplining themselves. That's how they can become less manipulated.
Okay. How can a guy become more interesting?
Basically, so most guys are very boring, and for any guy to become interesting, he has to first of all have interest. Things that he's doing that keeps himself alive. That's authentic to him. It could be football, it could be movies, it could be anything. But the beautiful thing is that to make it interesting, he has to have interesting hobbies, and to read interesting books or read different kinds of movies. Why? Because when you're talking to people like to have shallow conversations. So when you can pull out a lot of ideas from books, a lot of ideas from movies, it's also a way of making it interesting. When you're talking to people, those movies, books, and activities will help you, and social interactions will help you become an interesting person when you're talking to people, because you find it very easy to talk on different topics, and that itself makes it interesting. So also guys that are boring, I would say they don't know how to relate topics to people. Right? They may have ideas in their head, but they can't relate it to people because they're not even interested in people they're speaking with. interesting is just you're talking to people and you try to figure out what makes them tick, what makes them human beings. So if you yourself have topics in your head you like to talk about them and just ask questions. So a different ways people can become interesting basically. Read different books, watch different movies, have interests of yourself, have hobbies, and basically you become more interesting. Guys will become more interesting. Alright.
Why are good people stuck in bad relationships? Yes.
So good people are often stuck in bad relationships because good people put others before them, right? So what happens is when you put others before you find it very difficult to communicate what you truly want, what you truly desire. So that creates like a self-praising for themselves. So they may manage, but that's not what they want. That's why it ends up becoming a bad relationship. What I tell people is know what you want. Go for what you want first, right? Then find people who want what you want. That is how you have the best relationships. Not by self-sacrificing yourself and then thinking that the other person must sacrifice for you in return. No. Know what you want, right? And go for the people who want what you want, not the other way around. So that's how people who are good end up in bad relationships.
So when you meant relationship as in dating.
Anyone dating, friendship,
Okay, as I was expecting something else. But
like what?
like, don't worry.
Friendships.
No, not friendship per se. Yeah, you said relationship.
Yeah.
And the question is, why do
Good
good people
people.
often stuck in bad relationship?
Yeah.
So
Your friends like toxic, domestic violence.
something like that, okay, because
Yeah,
they
because
know
they
they
can
are
manage.
good people. They want to like.
Domestic violence it's a different topic, right? So why people are stuck in domestic violence relationships is a part of them somewhat desires it. Yeah. It sounds stupid. But I've ever wondered why somebody would leave a man who is domestic to her and go for another man, sorry, who is aggressive to her, and go for another man who is also aggressive. Because a part of it desires that aggression. A part of it, when you hear people say things like, oh, if they don't beat me, it means it doesn't love me. Doesn't mean the person is stupid. A part of them desires that beating. It doesn't make sense, but you should realize that we are animals first before we are human beings. So I'll tell you as a guy, if you cannot fulfill that need, don't date people like that, because if you date them and you want to be nice to them, right, and you can't beat them, they wouldn't like it. They'll move away. So yeah, it's people's weirdness, and we should begin to embrace that. Now, I'm not saying that when we see people engaging in domestic violence, I'm not saying we should leave them alone, right? I'm not saying we should leave them alone. But my point is that we should save them, right? Well, whether I like it or not, we should understand that there are some people who just desire that. And there are people, so the people who are the real victims are the people who don't desire it but happen to be in it. There are people. It's like when you see posts like this is why a lot of nice guys don't get some things right. They have good intentions quite alright, and they don't understand that some people have fucked up mentalities by social standards. So when the woman wants the man to beat her, the guy who is good is like, no, why would I beat you? Even me myself, I'm like, me beat you. God forbid. But some women will be like, if he doesn't beat me, he doesn't love me. They call it Stockholm syndrome. But why they desire it to us, we don't know. I've seen people who have weird desires, like sniffing kerosene. So don't worry, it's not a way of looking down on them. So remember that whether I would like it or not, our authentic nature is individual or sometimes stupid. It's society that keeps us in check. If you live without society's rules and regulations and all these ideas, the whole world will be fucked up right now. So when you see somebody who is doing what is authentic to them, aka I've even seen people say things like I've seen people say things like their best sex came from rape. I'm like,
From rape.
rape. I'm like, somebody might read that statement and say, you know what, I want to be raped. I'm like, so it just feels like I won't say that person is damaged. I'll say that person is just different, right? The person thinks differently. So it's about knowing what you want and know what you can take. Yeah, and then
Is it quite similar with like Sotai?
so that
Yes, because tell me the reason why you were in a relationship with someone that beats you, and probably because of
okay, I
like,
think first of all, when we first of all they can beat you, right? There's some sort of emotions attached.
attached.
Yeah. So I think it's that emotional response that's the real thing, right? It's that emotional response. So a guy who can't beat you, right? A guy who is beating you is expressing what? Anger. And you feel like you want that anger to be expressed,
True beating.
not to be expressed on you, basically. So you see that, okay, oh, you see a situation where, this is what you see a situation where he beats the lady leaves him, but still texting him secretly. Because of that emotional roller coaster he put her on. And some of them went on. So it's almost like, you know when girls say, I want guys to express themselves. Does not mean that the guy should come and start crying to her, right? But women like to enjoy emotional roller coaster. So rather than seeing a guy who is just not reactive to any emotion at all, they want to see him become alive, like express those emotions. So in the process, they want that they want that aggression,
Aggression.
they want the anger, they want the joy. So they don't tell them to share it. So yeah, that's who do domestic violence. They take it to a different extreme. Let me push him because whether I like it or not, right? I've seen situations where the husband beat the lady. The lady went and cooked food after. I'm like, not even to beat somebody and lie down beside the person. Do you know how crazy it is? You beat somebody and lie down beside the person. Like, don't you think that they can stab you in the night?
And the man ate it.
Yes, no. The man would eat it. So what that means is that what they're after, they will call it Stockholm syndrome. They make it sound like
Yes.
is a bad thing, but by society standard, it's a bad thing, right? By society standard, it's a bad thing. But instead of us figuring out, okay, oh, is it bad or not? Let's figure out why does it exist. If we know why it exists, we can then know what to do about it. In the same way, we see people. It's like why do people go for drugs? Like, they can tell you drugs will kill you tomorrow. People go for it. Why? Literally, you can watch a video on somebody overdosed, but yet people overdose the weeks after watching videos of being overdosed. Then, do you think they want to die? They are chasing something. They are chasing pleasures, chasing something. So, until we realize that something exists, it exists because there's a desire for it. Instead of treating it as well, it's good that it's labeled as domestic violence and we fight against it because if we don't label it, it will continue and it will get worse. But now that we have labeled it, it has introduced sanity to people and introduced sanity to relationships. So we are seeing less guys being domestically violent, which is good. But at the same time, the women who desire it, I mean, it's like sex in the bedroom. A lot of guys take it slowly, take it nice, like but the women are like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Some women and be like, and someone will be like, oh, unless my I think the tweet that went viral where the girl was like, she saw this that her boyfriend used to take it very gentle with her in the bedroom, but she broke up with him just breaking normal breakup, and then she met one guy who was very rough, and since then she never wants anybody to take it soft on her again. That's because the second guy realized that, or she realized that that desire for rough sex is there in her. It's not because she's not dysfunctional. That desire is there. So until we figure out why desire is there, we should not label it as bad. But again, society needs something to put this in check.
So, what do you think about hookup culture?
Hookup culture it's a complete disaster because it does not benefit the men, neither does it benefit the women. It's just telling us that because of this whole idea of sexual revolution, right, which was a very big mistake. They told women that women can have as much sex as possible because men too desire as much sex as possible. They've told women to give their body away, but in reality, it's damaging the women internally. It's the reason that a lot of women right now can't find partners because guys don't want women who have been run through. No guy wants that. So, and a lot of guys have been distracted. They've not been allowed to go into their manhood. They've been distracted by meaningless relationships. So, I feel that it doesn't really pay anybody. It does benefit a couple of men who are already successful. So that's the bad part of it. It's only a very few men that benefit from hookup culture. And those are men who are already successful or who are still focused on the path of success.
Okay, why you were giving your own perspective of this hookup culture? Just isn't it unfair that okay, ladies can can easily be told that okay, we know you have so many body counts, and it's very hard to like tell guys.
Tell guys that guys do not have high body counts.
No, you can easily tell that a lady has have
No, no,
like
no, you can't easily tell. That's a lie.
for girls.
You can't get for girls. You can't easily tell. If she wants to hide it, she will hide it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You just said she will hide it. Yeah. I mean, is it written over your forehead?
No, but you guys have a way of detecting somebody
So
that.
it means that there are ladies who express that desire easily. And the ladies who don't express that desire, that's who you're referring to, as it's easy for you to detect. So if lady, that's why a lot of women know that at a certain age, right? At a certain age, they have to run to the church so they can hide, they can mask their past. And guys that see babes in church, some of them can really calculate that this baby is here not because she has just wanted to go to church, but because of she has to portray that image. Yeah, a lot of girls who I see, of God, God protects me, Sha. A lot of girls I see on my WhatsApp, who I know, but the guys who I see following them, I'm like, God, God bless them, you, Sha. Yeah. All right.
What's the most worst thing guys do to themselves?
The worst thing the guy can do to himself is to sabotage himself, is to tell himself that he's not enough. So what that means is that he's not enough means that, okay, I'm not enough, let me get rich. He gets rich, he realizes that he doesn't have confidence. Then he begins to overcompensate in life. So what I tell guys is, guys, in anything you're doing, assume that you're enough. And if you see any area that you're lacking, be working towards that area, but that does not mean that you should not do the thing. For example, is talking to girls, right? It may not be perfect. When you start talking to them, you start building yourself internally. You stop thinking that, oh, you need money, you need flashy cars. You don't even need women. So you don't even need to go to the gym to attract women. You don't need to have a great physique to attract women. Just know that these things play a role, but you are enough. So self-sabotaging is what most guys do to damage themselves. It's the worst thing a guy can do to himself.
Okay, so we have this saying that okay, you have to like, for you to progress in life, you have to network with people.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lady now that wants to network, obviously she wants to like give her numbers to a lot of guys. So how
A
can
lot of guys, that I doubt that that's completely wrong.
it's wrong, right?
Yeah, giving your number to a lot of guys is completely wrong
Makes
because
it cheap.
you
Exactly.
need to vet the people you are dealing with. No matter no matter what happens, right? No matter who you are, except you are dealing in a commodity business, you don't need that much contact if you know what you are doing. Even though you are a salesperson and maybe you're selling, I know a girl who was selling detergents. She only went for key distributors because she focused on only key distributors. So what that means is how many does she need? She doesn't need up to 100 key distributors for her to make good sales. When you say a lot of numbers, you will most likely end up gathering the wrong kind of numbers. So I'm not saying that you won't gather from the 100, but I don't think you need that much. But so just continue.
Okay.
But what was the question? Sorry, I think I interrupted you there.
No, you've answered it. It's wrong for girls to just go about.
Yeah, but then again, I think it's going to be very difficult. Though. Even if you have like 10 numbers, two of those guys or three of those guys will be thinking of their minds will be going elsewhere. So I would say that they should just do it with caution and think twice.
Because obviously they cannot say, I'm giving you this my number because I just want to network with you.
No, they can't say it.
They
They can't
can't.
say it. But it's how they handle the thing that matters a lot. Yeah, they have to be smart about it.
Okay.
Gotta figure it out.
Why does guys not say what they want?
A lot of guys don't say what they want because we've told a lot of guys that masculinity is bad. So they end up hiding or suppressing their desires. A lot of guys, they want to maybe have sex with their partners. But because of they made sex look so sacred and he doesn't want to come off as irritating. So what that means is he will hide the desires or he will mask it, he will play a lot of games, a lot of tricks to get it. So it's causing a lot of problems in relationship and guys have been forced to keep quiet these days. Yeah. So it's damaging them internally.
How can people stop caring about what others think?
People can stop caring about what others think if they truly understand that nobody cares about you. I mean, you may think that comes off in a very bad way, but when we were all small, when we were babies, we felt like everybody cared. Your mother carried you when you cried, when your auntie was there. People were carrying you up when you're small. So in that situation, most people's brains don't realize that. The moment you became very big, nobody carried you anymore. Nobody really cared. So the bigger you got, the less people cared about you. So if you realize that nobody really cares, you're able to do what you truly want to do without think about it, right? When was the last time you thought of any stupid celebrity? Almost never. So if it is rare for you to think of a stupid celebrity right now, or you cannot remember the last time you had a thought about a stupid celebrity, what makes you think that doing what you want to do will cause problems? Although one downside is that it's causing a lot of stupid people to do stupid things these days for the sake of attention. But truly, I just believe that nobody really cares, and you should do what you want to do, basically. If you really understand that nobody truly cares. A good thing and a bad thing, though.
Okay. Treat women like children.
I tell guys that if you want to have an interesting relationship with women, treat them like children.
Thank you.
So what that means is I teach them what that means that one, the emotions they currently have now are not what they're going to have in the next 1 hour, in the next 2 hours. And two is if they are just ranting, realize that they are ranting. They don't most of their rants don't have clear thoughts. Three is when they tell you they want something, try to figure out what the real intention is, not what they are saying. So it's the same thing with kids. And also, to be very, very honest, not to sound misogynistic, right? A lot of women don't grow up like that. They only grow up in body, but mentality. And that's because a lot of women are not really forced to do a lot of stuff. So the need to grow up mentally is not there. I'm not saying that all women don't grow up mentally, but I'm saying that most women don't. They like to, and that is how the feminine nature is. It's like, you know what? You hear women say that I don't want to think too much because thinking too much makes them become masculine. So they just want to bask in that femininity and just enjoy the moment. Like I said, it's moment to moment, like kids.
How women shit test men.
Okay, shit test. Sorry? Shit test, yeah. How women shit test.
Okay.
So a lot of women shit test men and men fear the test constantly. And the reason is because when a woman shit tests a man, right, which comes different ways, she's basically saying, is this guy worth it? So for example, she can say things like, she may make a statement. And if the guy takes the statement too serious, if he's reacting to that statement, he has lost the shit test. What that means is he's not as masculine as she thought. One, two is, like for example, and shit tests happen in multiple ways. Help me hold my bag is a shit test. Whether I like it or not, the more you keep failing that test, yeah, the more boundaries she begins to break. But as a man, if you stay firm in your masculinity and say, you know what, when she does the shit test, right, because she wants to test whether you're a man or not. Accept it, like, look at it very well and pass the test. How do you pass the test? By responding and brushing it. At different ways, you just brush it off. Okay, let me hold your bag. No, I can't. Why? I just don't want to. I go to the bathroom, you can hang it somewhere or something. Yeah.
Sounds rude.
Sorry?
Sounds rude.
That's the point. That's how masculinity sounds brash. It sounds like because
Harsh.
yeah, it sounds harsh, and that is why a lot of guys like to they like to downplay their masculinity in a way of pandering to femininity, but in the very essence, it chips away over and over again. It shows that because that is where disrespect begins to slowly drip in, and from the 10 to 20 years down the line of hold my bag, yes, yeah, she's shouting back at you. A decade of that leads to total disrespect. And when you ask yourself, at what point did she change? You don't realize that it was happening all along, but because of you were blind to it, you did not see it.
Okay.
By the way, shit testing men is also a way of women realizing that okay, fine, I want to be with this guy. But I need to test his masculinity first to make sure that this is a guy worth being with. So what's going to happen is she's going to shit test the guy to see how much boundaries she can push. So when she's ranting, that's the treat women like kids. When she's ranting, listen to her rant. I was like, you know what? She's just emotional right now. After like 20, 30 minutes, she'll be calm, then we can have a proper conversation.
How men and women communicate
So
different.
skip that question.
Just skip it.
Yeah.
Should I also skip why men should become narcissistic?
Like narcissistic.
Narcissistic. Should I skip that?
Yeah, say leave it there. So men need to become narcissistic and think about themselves first. And why, if you realize, women go for men that are narcissistic because these men they know what they want. They think about themselves so often that they know what they want and they'll never settle for less. And why women also like this men is because narcissists will go out there, they'll get what they want. In the process, the woman sees what she wants for herself and her kids. So men should know what they want. Go only for what they want. Now, when they invite a woman into their life, yes, she may not be the focus of your life, but the woman knows that if this man can get what he wants, he should go around with the family, and that's the reality of things. So men should know what they want and only go for it. Commit to their goals and dreams. Or what women commit to them as a person.
How can men perform better in bed? Does it have to do with small penis or?
You're asking if size matters.
Yes, the size matters.
Size matters, but to an extent.
Okay.
Right? Because a decent size will guarantee you something. But before I even say size matters, most guys, they lack performance in bed because of two things. One, the mind is wired to have sex quick because it's of recent times we began to have sex in rooms. Sex with passes to happen in the bush. What that means is that in the bush, what that means is that you have a very short time before an animal comes to your back. Yeah. That's why women have to feel safe during sex. Don't realize that if anything comes, this man is here to protect me. That's why a woman needs a level of safety where she can have sex with anybody. Now the second part now is even though you have calmed your mind, right? And then you tell yourself that okay, fine, I'm having sex in a room, not in a bush. You need to be able to handle what they call it, the time. That means so to handle your mind, you need meditation. You need to calm your thoughts in meditation. To handle your cardiovascular system, you need to have some good cardio. So meditation and cardio are two habits that men can have to boost their performance in the bedroom. The third part is mostly gimmicks, things that you can do to make the moment fun. You're surprised about the bush stuff.
Yes, I'm really
So
surprised.
the brain has not really evolved. The brain has not evolved since God created it. That's the reason. If I throw a toy snake, as in a snake that looks like a real snake, you will not check whether the snake is real or not. If I throw a snake that is alive but not poisonous, you will not want to mind if it is poisonous. Even though the owner is shouting it is not poisonous, your brain is shut off. That's why I tell people that if you look at what people are doing, human beings are animalistic first. Before we are animals who can think. What that means is the moment the animal in us triggers comes out, thinking leaves the window. So only very few people can think when there's chaos. If a bomb blows off, who the fuck is thinking of what do they call it? Of where to run? No, the people will run in the direction where most human beings are running towards. That is how and because human beings are very predictable. That is how human beings were able to think, right? How human beings hunted? Is it buffaloes? So buffaloes have their eyes on the side. So when they want to catch buffaloes are very difficult to catch. So back then, what they'll do is they know there's a cliff, right? They will scare buffaloes to the cliff because the buffaloes can see their front, they can see their sides. So what happens? And the reason that they are wired like that. What happens? They'll chase them to a direction or cause chaos here, so they run in the direction of the cliff. When they get there, they cause chaos there so that they can break the pattern. But the point is, human beings are animals first. So when there's chaos, the animal brain kicks in and picks up. So same thing with the sex. Sex doesn't happen. When it comes to sex, the brain needs to realize that okay, come, we are in the bush, right? We don't have time. So when people laugh at animals who are doing that, it's because they know that they're in the jungle. We think that we are what in a bedroom, so it's safe. But the animal part of us is not saying that too. Animal part of us saying that come, Oga, we are seeing a bush. There could be anything happening. But yeah, when sex is happening, that is where most people are vulnerable to anything. So yes, so we are animals first before we are human beings that can think.
Should men have high body count?
High body counts for men is actually very, very dangerous because when you preach men should have high body counts, they most likely ending up with damaged women. And whether like it or not, during sex, there's an exchange of energies. If you keep having energies of people who are damaged, it's rub off on you. So I tell men shouldn't go for high body count. So they should go for quality body count.
Qualities still have to like be high quality body counts.
You get the point. High quality body count.
So what do you think about the sexual revolution?
Sexual revolution was a very big mistake, right? The irony is that the people who had the sexual revolution, they wanted women to be damaged actually. That is why they invented the abortion pill. They knew the consequences of the abortion pill. But if you go and listen to those names that were very prominent in the sexual revolution, you kind of realize that they wanted to have a population decline, right? They wanted to have STD shared. So the more sex people had, the more distracted the men become, the more sex that's out there, the more women para bond. That is, by the time they want to get married, they kind of like feel like they have a funny past. They find it difficult to find a partner. So they knew all these things right before they had the sexual revolution. So people who took the sexual revolution serious were the people who were like the lab rats for the experiment. And look at us 30 years down the line. Men are distracted, men are weaker. A lot of women are taking antidepressants. A lot of women can't find partners. And it's becoming worse because there's a study that shows that in the next 30 years, more than more than half the women at the age of 30 will be single, childless, and sexless. And that's not funny. And it's not a way of laughing at women, it's a way of making women realize that, hey, all those ideas of having as much sex as possible is a complete scam. It's to sell you on ideas that you don't want to do. And also it's also distracting the men. So sexual revolution does not favor most people.
So, do you have a story of how you overcame fear of women?
So I have this very interesting story on how I overcame the fear of women. Not I was overcoming it in bits, but a major thing happened was I had this. So I was doing long distance running, so I had this heart situation. So that means that doctors are just scaring me of a surgery. Well, I was like, bro, this is like death staring me in the face. So I was taking walks every day. I was taking walks every day. I saw these kittens lying around the road. One kitten was approaching me. And all the kittens, like 6 of them were approaching me. I was afraid, right? That these kittens were approaching me because in Nigeria, kittens are like baby witches. So they were approaching me. When I approached them, like 3 will run away, 3 will stay. Then it dawned on me that, hold on, I'm afraid of the kittens, but the kittens are afraid of me. It does not make any sense. So I stood there and watched them come to me. They came to me, I touched some run away. And it was at that moment that I realized that women are doing a lot to attract guys. But the guys are also doing a lot to run away from women. Something is not right somewhere. So what happened was the next day when I was going on a walk, I spoke to 3 women randomly, right? And these are the women who were taking regular walks, who knew that I stay in the estates and they could see my face regularly. And when I walked up to them, it just felt like, I said, okay, good afternoon, I see you walking around, how you doing? And that was all. They were all attractive. So I got 3 names the next day and realized that women want to be approached. Forget the facade they put in their front. Even though you're afraid, just go out there and say rubbish. Just, I see you a lot. Have you noticed? Oh, I've been seeing you a lot. Just say something stupid though, and just break the ice. When you break that initial ice, get to realize that she's a human being who is looking for guys to talk to. Except she's married or she has a boyfriend, she wants attention.
Why do men feel weak and lost?
A lot of men feel weak and lost because of the message that they are telling to men. They tell men a lot of message that goes against their nature. So what happens is, 1, men are giving up on masculinity. Second thing is, a lot of these companies, because of men are losing their masculinity, they find it easy to make profit off men. Like the profit of men's addiction, like what? Men are inclined to what? To want sex. So the companies, they make men weak and profit off porn. Men want to have achievements in life. So the gaming companies profit off of that achieving nature of men, and they create video games that don't work in the favor of men, that distract the men. The men are weak. The other companies make profit of these men by addicting them to food that is not healthy. So that's what makes men lost, and they never realize that these things that they're addicting you to are things that you really want to do, but they have changed them basically.
Okay, so in other sense, you mean men feel weak as a result of
Distractions,
distractions.
comfort, pleasure. Yeah, weakens men a lot.
Yeah. So why are young men addicted to porn? Okay.
Young men are addicted to porn. First of all, a lot of young men are addicted because they don't realize that for a while they've made men break masculinity. They made men alone. So I feel like a lot of men who are single not because of they don't have. Sorry, come again. Say the question again. A lot of things flooded in my head at the same time.
Oh. Why are young men addicted?
So a lot of men are addicted to porn, junk food, video games because society has broken down this idea of a brotherhood. What that means is every man is really on his own. He lacks deep connections. And when you lack deep connections with other brothers that are focused, what happens is it's easy for you to fall victim of what addiction. And the people who are most addicted are people who don't have anything happening for them. So one, they don't have a brotherhood. Two, they're not committed to any sort of goal, purpose, or mission. So they're distracted by default, by addictions. Yeah.
Why do young men not feel like they are good enough?
I think I've basically answered that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, stylishly. Yeah.
Why do men feel lonely when they are always online?
In my generation, we confused ourselves with online connection meant real connection. But in reality, online connection was just somebody else across the screen who is also distracted. So whether like to know, the men that we see, when men see men online, it's mostly shallow conversations. You rarely have deep conversations with online communication. So a lot of men can be online, distracting themselves with shallow connections, thinking that they have people that they're talking to, but in reality, those online connections can never give you meaningful results. Because why? Those other people, they are prioritizing plenty connections over real, few, and deep connections. So yeah, we've lost a sense of brotherhood.
So as a guy, what's the most unattractive thing a female can do?
Unattractive thing
Yes.
that a female can do as a guy.
No, like for you that is a guy now, what's the most unattractive thing a female can do?
Like a deal breaker is disrespect me. Even if don't disrespect me, if you disrespect somebody else, it's super unattractive. Yeah, because if you can disrespect anybody, at least anybody who you see, there's a high chance of you disrespecting me if we fall out. So it's a big turn off and it's a deal breaker. Go ahead.
How can guys maintain long distance friendship or relationships?
It's very tough. It's very tough. So guys, I'll say guys, it's very difficult for any guy to maintain a long distance friendship. What I'll say is that make it if it's not a priority, if you and the person you're friends with don't have anything that brings you guys together regularly, it's almost impossible. It could be a football team, it could be something meaningless, but if you guys don't have anything bringing guys together, it's a meaningless relationship. It's going to die over time. So I say keep in touch with shallow stuff, and from time to time, you guys will have deep conversations on how you can help yourself level up. That's how I keep my long distance friendship though, to date.
Relationship.
Friendships.
Right.
Friendships. Now you get yourself.
Should men fall in love?
No, men should not fall in love. With the way society defines it, because men are, first of all, are majorly logical beings. And this idea of falling in love means that you should shut off your thinking. So in most cases, it's mostly a tool for women to manipulate men. I tell people that the only reason a woman wants you to fall in love is because she wants to manipulate you. If you don't believe me, a guy should go and tell his sister that he has fallen in love. Look at her facial expression, one. Two, next thing she asks is, let me see the girl, because she wants to know that this girl is manipulating this guy or not. So falling in love is a scam. I'm not saying you should not be in love, but not fall in love. There's a slight difference.
What's the difference?
The difference between falling in love and being in love, I'll say is the difference between a story I read. So man and husband go to the zoo. The woman sees the male monkey rubbing the female monkey, removing ticks from her, right? And then she's like, oh, see how loving they are. Now, they go to the lion's den, right? They see the female lion has a distance, but she's in front of the male lion, but he's just there observing her do her stuff, her play with the kids. So she's like, this lion doesn't care about this woman. But the man says, well, hold on, watch. He picks a stone, he throws the stone at the female lion. The male lion charges to the people and like is like in the way of telling you what the fuck are you doing? Why throwing stones at my partner? He goes back to the monkey's cage and throws the stone at the female monkey's head. The female monkey runs away, and he's like, can you see the difference? So the point is that falling in love is mostly just you being attached, you being overly emotional. But somebody who is in love, right? He thinks while he still feels, regardless. But when you fall in love, thinking is out the window. Yeah. So guys, don't fall in love.
So this stuff that is like trending online about for a guy now, if you are walking down the aisle to like meet your partner, you must cry. So do you?
No, it's just social media bans. So I think a lot of guys need to realize that when women say some things that they want to see, it's because it sounds interesting to them. When you hear ladies say, "How my man to express himself to me," it sounds interesting to them because they want their guys to be emotional from time to time. But what happens in reality is when you become that guy who is too expressive, so they feel irritated. They feel like this guy is less masculine than he portrayed to be. So that idea of crying down the aisle is complete BS. It's just social media stunts. Also, I have seen mothers if you look at the faces of our mothers, it tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about what the fuck is happening. When mothers who understood what masculinity was see their sons doing that rubbish, just look at the disgust on her face. It tells you a lot because it's like, what this guy doing?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? So that crying down the aisle is just,
Especially when you like catch their son washing the partner pants or like
at that moment, the mother just knows that. This is I said,
after
masculinity did not die a fast death. It was done a slow death. Like, for example, things like, and a lot of guys misunderstand statements, right? They tell you ideas that make you as a man pander to your woman. So to you who has good intentions is what you should do, right? But it's a big mistake. Because guys that have good intentions will keep rubbing themselves and denying themselves. So for example, I tell guys that if your babe cooks noodles for you, don't eat that noodles. Because it's a test. If you eat the noodles, guess what happens? She begins to introduce noodles to your meals by the day. But when she cooks noodles, I say, okay, no, I can't eat it. I'd rather go out to get something to eat. It means that you have passed that shit test. Next time, she will never cook noodles. She will skip it and try something that is much more pleasing. All right.
how can guys manage their anger and aggression?
I would say instead of trying to manage your anger and aggression, try to channel it towards something. The reason anger and aggression is there, it helps us to protect things that we love. So what that means is learn to, by disciplining yourself. So the man who is most disciplined, the men who are most disciplined, when they get angry, they know where to channel their aggression to. They won't just express it by doing something stupid to other people. The men who are the most disciplined, so it's key thing here is to be disciplined and know what to channel your aggression to. Yeah. Rather than expressing it and letting people suffer for it. Yeah, telling people to punch him back.
For my dad, he will just go outside and just take a walk.
Perfect.
See,
It's a way of dissipating your anger. You can see what I mean by what healthy masculinity looks like and what it felt like. But when I tell men to express their emotions, what do you would have done?
they've given whoever is.
I want to see when I'm talking mothers, right? Mothers is so you see where maybe she's emotional and she transfers the emotion to anybody that's around. It's like, but it's not me now. It's like it's not me. I didn't tell you anything. And I always say that. Sometimes I feel like what other big mistake I think a lot of guys don't understand is that when women are sometimes just emotional, something could happen outside, but they're emotional about it right now because they feel like everybody should just share the anger. That thing pisses me off. So when I understood this thing and my mom becomes angry, I just think for me to just excuse. Like just excuse her completely. Or if our sisters are around, I'll say she's calling you. When they get there, They just have this thing. They'll say, "Oh, sorry, maybe I forgot that I was calling," but just about just like just I beg, just talk to her. Don't.
So you not transfer aggression.
I've seen one guy. His mom slapped him on the back of the head. She said, I'm talking to you," but they were never talking. It's like he's in the parlor pressing his phone on the dining table. She walks up on the from the parlor area to slap him. And then she realized that, oh, she was having a conversation about in her head, something that happened in her head though, but she slapped him. So that's what you get. And then a lot of guys need to realize that men act on emotions. Men are supposed to act with logic and principles. That's the idea of stoicism, my guy.
What are some common mistakes guys make when trying to get out of their friend zone?
All of the friend zone.
Yeah.
The only reason a guy will be in a friend zone is because he's not communicating what he wants. And he's trying to accept a bad deal. A bad deal is you want to date somebody, but she's putting in a friend zone. You don't want the friend zone. So a guy who respects himself will walk out of it peacefully. Know that what I want is not what this woman wants. And he walks away. But most guys who are in the friend zone, they are there thinking that at some point she will see the value in him. So I tell guys, walk away. Walk away, or if you happen to wake up, if you're currently in a friend zone now, find another girlfriend. Watch what happens.
Get jealous.
She'll get jealous. And that is what I tell guys. Instead of trying to maybe control a woman, focus on her emotions, right? Date somebody else while you're in the friend zone and see what happens.
Or that's like hurting the other person's.
No. Genuinely date somebody and tell her fuck you. Trust me, if I thought she maintains that friendship, right, what she end up doing is she'll try her possible best to want to date you. But I'll tell you, as guys, that's a very bad deal. Don't even break up with a new person. Just find somebody else. So if you happen to be in a friend zone, walk away or date somebody. The guy should get her jealous, but don't take her back. So you not taking the woman back is because you're better off not being seen as an option. And it adds to your level of self-respect. So next time if you break up with this new girlfriend and you walk up to that woman, the moment she tries that friend zone card, you automatically just cut it in your head and say, nope, it's not me and you. We just can't be friends. I want something deeper than that.
What are some common mental health struggles guys face?
The most common mental health struggles is depression, anxiety. Most of the guys' depressions come from a lack of direction. They don't even know what they want to do with their life. So we have created a world of pleasure and very comfortable. So when guys are very comfortable, they see no need to grow. So they have no direction. They see no need to grow. They are distracted by what? Porn, games, drugs. Then anxiety kicks in when you don't even have a brotherhood. You don't have people to truly understand where they're coming from. So it creates this deep void in guys, and it's not funny. So depression, anxiety are worst mental health guys face these days. Yeah, loneliness, lack of direction, bad habits, addiction.
How can guys overcome a traumatic experience or a difficult childhood?
So guys can overcome traumatic experiences from childhood by understanding first that whatever happened in childhood when you were a child, you took it like that. You never had the chance to interpret it. You never had the chance to interpret it. But now that you are grown, now that you'll be able to see the world in a different way, you have to revisit that childhood memory and give it a proper definition, knowing that when you're small, nobody tried to harm you. Nobody tried to harm you. Whatever it is that you gave it a meaningless interpretation. So that is the basis of all therapy. Therapy will tell you to go back. When you go back to that memory, they start asking you questions to make you realize that how you saw it in the past was not really happened, was not what really happened. So, but if you can do it for yourself, go back to your past, visit that traumatic experience, and change the meaning, then it becomes less harsh, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
Does more muscle attract more women?
A lot of guys have this stupid mentality that the more muscles I have, the more women I attract. And same way some women have this stupid idea that the bigger their ass, the more men they attract. But honestly, what I feel like is a lot of people need to know that muscles are important, but to an extent. Because if you have too much muscles, you end up attracting men, not women. Men that want to build muscles are the ones you attract. So women also have to realize that the shape of your ass is important, but to an extent. So guys should focus on building a better personality than building bigger muscles. Because bigger muscles don't mean more babes. At some point, you end up looking like what? A bouncer or a juggernaut. Women don't want that. So you need to find that balance of what makes you attractive and what makes you functional as a man.
Why do women end up going for the opposite of what they want?
So when you ask a woman, what do you want in a man? What happens is she would tell you she wants a man who is God fearing, a man who likes kids, a man who is nice, who shows gestures. But she wants those things from men that she's already attracted to. Because she'll say a man that she's attracted to, she'll think of, okay, I can't date this man because this man has all these flaws. She's listing the flaws that the man she likes already has. But the guys who don't understand this, they think that she wants those things, but no, she wants to date a particular guy. But because the guy has these flaws, is what she's listing. So if you guys understand that, what she's saying is not really what is sorry. Let me think of how to approach it again. Hold on. All right. What's the question?
Why do women end up going for the opposite of what they want?
So when you ask a woman, what do you want in a man? She'll say things like, I want a man who likes kids. I want a man who is God fearing. I want a man who is kind hearted. But what they're mostly saying is they like all these things, right? But from a man who they are already attracted to. So what that means is the man they're attracted to either has some or doesn't have some. But guys will look at this list and think that this is what she wants. But she has to be attracted to you first before she wants those things. So guys should focus on the attraction before becoming those things. Because the men who will look at those things alone are men who will end up becoming simps. Yeah. They will pander to her narrative and put on the pedestal. And that's not what she wants. It's like I saw this video where a lady was like, she likes her men aggressive. And just like all this dating show, and the guy was like, I can be aggressive for you. She said no. She wants it factory built. Like, she does not want the guy to change. All right.
Should men set goals? Should men set goals?
So men should not really set goals, right? Because when we say men should set goals, what they most likely are saying is, oh, set a goal for maybe 10 million naira, a million naira, and all that. But what happens is when you set a goal in one area of your life, you are mostly blindsided to other areas of your life. Instead, people should design the life they want to live. That is, what kind of partner do you want? In the next 5 years, what kind of car do you want? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? The difference is that when you set a goal, you're focused on just a very few areas of your life. But when you do this lifestyle design, where you're thinking of all areas of your life and bringing them together there and making that happen, then you get to see yourself making that happen. But you get to see yourself going for things that you truly desire. That is, you're becoming a well-rounded person. You're not becoming somebody who is just driven in one direction. So I tell people to design their life, not set goals. Guess that's all.
No, the last one.
What's
is, why do women go for men that are already successful?
So a lot of men have this narrative that women are gold diggers because they go for men who are already successful. That's not the case. Most men in this world will never be successful. That's the harsh truth. So women want to have the best chances of giving their kids the best life. And so what that means is that they rather go for a man who is already built than a man who is trying to build up, because most men who are trying to build up will never be successful. It's a harsh truth of life. So knowing this, they basically want what is best for them. I mean, if you ask guys, why are these guys going for the ugly babes? I'm sure they will say. Because guys who want the best for their kids, they want the best in terms of genes for their kids. So same way women want the best for their kids in terms of provision. So it's a safer bet going for a guy who is already successful because he has already won his bet. And if they can't get a guy who is already successful, they go for a guy who shows that he's on his path to success. So for most guys, don't get pissed. Just be on your path to success, and you'll see women go, will come your direction.